You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. till it's perfect.
Welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday. Welcome, everybody. Moanep, welcome. John Lithium, Quad Bennett, Looney Tunes, welcome. Echo Resto Dragon, Ground Level News, welcome, everybody. Ooh, excuse me. All right, folks, we gotta get to stepping because I gotta get out of here. Pretty early today. Unfortunately, we have a late start because I was stuck at work. But it happens. Have you heard Sandy won her case? Yes, I did. I did hear that, and that is very, very, very good to hear. Very good to hear. Epstein victims speak today. Yep, I saw that. They should release the files. They're not going to, though. But they should. I heard Epstein and Trump were friends. Good friends. Welcome, Bipedal Meatbag. Kirkenstein's Monsters, welcome. Welcome. Alright, folks, let's get started. Folks, thank you all for being here. The usual disclosures, if you want to support the channel directly, check out the merch store, ! Tip, Substack, join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. Please check out my show at this space, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, let's do it. Let's do it because we gotta go. Yeah, just in time. That's right.
If you wanted to build industry in this country, you wouldn't just do willy-nilly tariffs across the board on products that will never be built in this country.
Unless
that
you're
you
Trump.
wouldn't want built in this country, that you can't grow in this country. You would have targeted tariffs, and you would then have the other half of the policy, which would be investment in these industries to grow them. But they're not doing that.
They're scrapping the CHIPS Act.
This is just a way to collect regressive taxes.
Yep.
That is what it is. It may be something else, in Donald Trump's mind, it's like some type of, a penis measuring contest. But for everything else, it is just a regressive tax. Here is Scott Bessant on with Lara Trump.
For, because of journalism.
And this is it's good that he was on with Lara Trump because no Secretary of Treasury could ever say this in front of anybody who was even slightly interested in the topic and get away with it. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever, this is not junior high. This is grade school reasoning.
Why did they even bother? They should have just had Besson in front of a mirror, and that would have been the same effect.
I think it would have been tougher because then he'd have to see himself say
self-reflection.
Right. In this point, at least Lara Trump is like, yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Of course, you have critics, and they will say that the tariffs are a hidden tax on the consumers here in the country.
They are. Unambiguously, they are. A tariff is literally just like a tax, right? Because you end up paying it.
But give us the reality.
If they're so bad, and the American consumer's paying them, why do we hear the European companies or the Chinese companies or the Chinese complaining about tariffs if it's all being borne by the American people? It's just...
Wait, that makes no sense. That makes zero sense. They're complaining because it's bad trade policy. They're complaining because it's bad economic policy. This isn't being done in some kind of strategic way with the goal of bringing back manufacturing.
It's just not happening. When I talk about President Trump's
Pause it.
economic
Let's
policy,
think about why a country
Sisyphean task. George Waters, welcome everybody. Welcome.
and the producers in that country selling stuff to Americans would complain that all of a sudden the price is 10, 20, 30, 40% higher for that consumer, and they don't see any of that money. It's just the consumers are going to stay away and not going to buy it, and it's not going to be worth it for them to ship it. That's why they would complain about it. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's bad for their business. That's why they would complain about it.
exactly.
Brave. Ladybug, welcome.
I don't know why. Like, why would I complain if the iPhone started charging members of the Majority Report an extra $2 a month? Because people would be like, wait a second, why is this so expensive? And
But if you're complaining, then the Majority Report listeners must be getting a real great deal out of it. Because
That's
that's
right.
that's his worldview. It's if a Chinese company is complaining, that must mean that we are doing a good job. It's like the Chinese companies versus the American public. Don't you understand that?
Again, it's like they only see the money going out and not the thing coming back.
Right.
but it's
They buy it all in bulk
He
themselves.
knows the truth here.
Yes, of course.
And it's just, I don't know if she does. She may not. She may not. But he
You
certainly
have
knows the
haters.
truth.
Why are they wrong, sir?
Give us the
Soul Life. Violet Quinlaw, welcome.
reality. What a funny question.
And here's the interesting, one
China.
more interesting point about this tariffs before we go. So the tariffs are starting to
Mayhem Hippie, welcome. Question everything,
be
welcome.
imposed in spring, you know, Independence Day or whatever you called it, Retribution Day or
Liberation Day. How
Day.
could you
I can't-
forget?
I
How
can't
could you
remember.
forget?
I had like 10 of them.
Exactly.
It's called Juneteenth for business.
Re-Liberation Day is here today.
Ultra liberal.
Super liberation. Like everything in this country, the idea of tariffs, there has been a sort of secondary market on this. So if the tariffs ultimately are found to be illegally imposed, all of this money that has been collected by the federal government has to go back to these producers. Now, the amazing thing is
Yep. So we have that actually queued up. Indivisibles, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Now Hippie has 2 accounts. Hey. Rating from the surfs. Hey, welcome, surfers. Appreciate that. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. So yeah, that's true. We're gonna actually, this kind of is a whole like segue. This is a whole segue into this. This is just asinine, folks. I mean, seriously. Retribution Day.
these producers may get off pretty good because they may have passed on a certain percentage of that money to somebody else, the consumers, whatnot. Now, I don't know if they're obligated in any way to then pay back the consumers. My guess would be no. So you've got this potential of a tariff refund in the event that a court rules, the Supreme Court rules against these tariffs and finds that they were illegally imposed. So you have this thing called the tariff refund. Right now, let's say your tariff refund is worth $10, but it's hypothetical. It's almost like you're a creditor.
Yeah. Extortion day, protection payment day. If they get their money back, can we get refunds on the increased time, on the increased prices? No. Short-sighted financial policy to line hip pockets will be the downfall of all Western nations, like we're allergic to forward planning. Sam gets it. Yep.
Of a company that has gone bankrupt.
Yep.
You may get your $10 that they owe you back, or you may not. And what happens in those situations, and has happened in this situation, is that people came in over the past 6-8 months and said, you've got a potential tariff refund for $10, but you're relying on the court to say that these tariffs are illegal. You don't know if that's going to happen. Right now, I will pay you $3, and you give me the right to collect that $10 refund if it happens. And so you've got people buying up these tariff refunds. They're hypotheticals, but they're selling them for real money. That's what happens with bad debt, too. You get people coming in going like, I'm going to pay you 10 cents on the dollar for that debt that you have. You don't even know if you're going to collect. I'm willing to take the risk. Well, it turns out one of the biggest players in purchasing up tariff refunds really early in this process, back in like May and in June, was this subsidiary of a financial firm called Cantor Fitzgerald, which up until Donald Trump became president was run by Donald Trump's now Commerce Secretary. What is it, Howard Lutnick?
Yeah, but it's not run by him anymore, right?
No, it's not. It's completely out of his hands.
Independent.
It is run by the Lutnick sons.
Ah, there we are. And now we've come full circle. Price go down, impossible. Where do you think this is? China? You know, I'm purchasing power parity, adjusted GDP this year. China will have 40 trillion economy, US 30 trillion. Wasn't that long ago that a gap in the US's favor? Yep.
And they have bought
100%.
up a ton of this tariff refund credits. And the idea of like these financial products is not terribly, shocking. People buy bad debt all the time, and this is what it is. It's like potential debt. But even if understand, 25 cents on the dollar, 30 cents on the dollar. Wired reported on this over the summer. In June or May or April, today, after this initial ruling by the courts, that's probably worth 50 cents on the dollar now. So as it stands, we don't know exactly how much of this debt they bought up. And remember, there's like what? $100 billion worth of tariffs that have been collected at this point? Taxes that may have to be refunded. They may have bought.
Yeah, we the consumer are caught holding the bag on this one because we paid them. It's about 200 billion. Not like scammed 9/11 survivors too, or 9/11 victims. I forget which. Yeesh.
I don't know. Half of $50 billion for 25 cents on the dollar. They could turn around and sell that. They just like made billions of dollars. There is no doubt in my mind they're dumping half of it right now. They're covering everything that they paid for, plus a little more, and then holding on to the rest in the event that it pays off.
Yep. And one of the Lutnick sons, I believe, is doing business with Eric Trump on their cryptocurrency venture. And as of this morning, the Wall Street Journal reported, or yesterday at least, the Trump family has officially amassed $5 billion after their crypto launch, World Liberty Financial. Hopefully later this week we'll have on Molly White to talk about that insane level of corruption.
Wow. It must be nice, really. Michael Hasner, welcome. Yes, you can tip your streamer so I can buy more cheese puffs. I think it's hundreds of billions thanks to front loading. Yeah, hundreds. Yep.
But it's just amazing that this is accepted right now.
Oh, the amount of money that these people have extracted from our economy is just, I don't know if we'll ever be able to fully sort of like absorb it.
There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like the country's being broken down and sold for scraps like a company that went bankrupt is.
Between the, being president when the COVID collapsed the economy and this, like, he's probably one of the most individually catastrophic person from a economic standpoint.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he is the most impactful president of my lifetime, and it's not close.
Oh, yeah. And I have a feeling like
Yeah, it did sound like a puppy.
the number of things that are just sort of propped up. You have these bank regulators backing off, basically testing, more or less stress testing banks, which was a key.
Crypto is also driven by global transactions as much as spare US dollars to spend on bonds and keep demand high and yields and rates low. People are hiding in crypto thinking it's electronic gold. They're going to get burnt hard at some point, I'm pretty sure. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's no doubt. I heard a nugget yapping. Is that the name? I don't know. I don't know whose puppy is it. Is it Brian's puppy?
Feature in the wake of the 2008 crisis, making sure that they
Was it Emma's puppy?
have the right amount of capital relative to what their investments are, making sure that they're not engaging in risky financial schemes with essentially depositor monies. I mean, all those type of things. All those woke things. You've got the idea that they're floating around now that they're going to provide crypto as collateral for mortgages.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic.
Oh,
Crypto is a
what we need.
little bit volatile.
That's what we need. We need, that's the lesson from 2008. We need more volatility and speculation in the real
yeah,
estate
exactly.
market.
We can't do the exact same thing as we did in 2008 because of the regulations. But this unregulated Ponzi scheme called crypto, let's introduce that to the housing market. Nothing can go wrong with using crypto as collateral to a freaking mortgage. Oh, I was just referring to it as a nugget, lowercase. Gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah, not woke. That's what we need. Bought my house for $4 worth of Dogecoin in the great 2025 crypto bubble. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. We're all gonna be winning. Seth Evans, welcome. I believe they've gotten rid of the 2008 regulations. Really? Wow. I always thought that was kind of like in place after that, and that's why it hasn't quite been able to crash like it did in 2008 because things are different, or the banking systems are different. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they took all that out and we're just flying by the seat of our pants here.
I'll fix it.
This will be worse than 2008.
And people are asking if we have a dog there. Sometimes you'll hear this. There's a dog in the hallway that likes to bark. So that maybe what?
Yes, we don't have a dog in studio.
But
Oh, that's a shame. Don't lie to us, Sam. You bring that puppy in and you show us. It's going to make the Great Depression seem like a pothole. That's cool. What's unfathomable to me, it's just accepted now that he can use the office of the presidency to profit personally to the tune of billions. Yeah, 100%. Like, this is all being done. This is all being done in the open, too. I mean, didn't he do, like, several pump and dumps, right? When he threatened to do tariffs and then didn't, and then that, and then kept... Yeah, I mean, whatever, cool. It's all good. Everything's fine. Trump got rid of a lot of the guardrails. Oh, okay, gotcha. Very cool. It's got 1929 written all over it. The parallels almost beyond parody. Cool. Did you see the majority on Majority Report today? The new Nothing Burger? No. Can I get a TLDR? I mean, like, I'm usually there in chat. I'm usually there guarding chat while I'm at work. They're unironically trying to sell this being still anything resembling a meritocracy society when housing is distributed by did you lottery into the right crypto bubble at the right time. Cool. I mean, like, it's kind of like the same thing, right? Like, it's instead of like did you like, you know, come out of it in the right wealth bracket, you know, in back then, and now it's whether or not you made you know, you made the right decision with crypto. Very legit. I often wonder how feudal times compare. Just like, was the media noble this effing brazen about their domination? I don't know. I don't know. I have a feeling that probably they were a bit more guarded with that. Him and Melania did both a pump and dump after he got in. Yeah, okay, gotcha. That was the crypto thing, right? Melania coin? Did the median peasant have more or less concrete awareness of what's being done to them as the median free rugged individual today? Yeah, good question. Good question. I mean, like, I feel like more or less, like, the peasants kind of knew, more or less. Info simply disseminated much less rapidly. That's a major factor, often underappreciated. What's news, or true or false, made it only miles and in months before now travels around the globe many times in the span of a few minutes. Yep. Makes me think Trump is going to crypto scam the treasury. I know he's been a little, oof. I mean, he's been open to that, by the way. He's been open to that. Medieval peasants had more free time than we do. True. I think that's just a background influencing factor, making a lot of play out different than it otherwise would have, all else equal. They were a lot more likely to fight back then, and yeah, that was the crypto thing. Melania and Trump coins, they have selected out the uppity ones. Yeah, I mean, like the and Melania coin actually did a little bit better, right? But I guess it doesn't matter because it's all like Trump, you know, it's all in the family.
There's someone that does on our floor, but am I hearing you correctly that basically Cantor Fitzgerald bought the rights to this refunding, essentially hedging on and
Yep. That's true.
And with an understanding or a belief that there's a good chance that the tariffs are nullified by the court.
It's a bet.
So Lutnick has inside information about the tariff policy and the legal standing behind it, and his sons just happen to hedge on the tariffs essentially and get a piece of the tariff refunds. That's how this is shaking out.
Oh no, not a piece. Yeah. In the event that it is Lutnick's sons basically betting that the tariff regime is illegal.
Yep.
And that the federal government's going to have to pay back all of this money or a significant portion of it. And they have purchased the rights to those refunds for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, and they're probably just freelancing, and their father's the commerce secretary, right? They're just going in blind and making that assessment. I mean, it's so
listen,
obvious.
If Wired published this, I have no doubt if Howard Lutnick saw this, had no idea what his sons were up to.
Yep.
Are you kidding? I would never. I'm sure he sat there and instead of thinking, oh my God, all of this business that I built up and gave to my sons, they're going to ruin it by buying all of this worthless refund opportunity. I wish I could contact them in some way, but I know that would be wrong.
I have to let them fail on their own.
Exactly.
They have to build their own pile.
Exactly.
So, I mean, another way of putting it is they're betting against the president's policy. I mean, if that doesn't tell you like everything that you need to know, that they're literally willing to bet against it, I mean, what more do you need? Like the Commerce Secretary is literally betting against the administration's policy. That's how much they believe in it. In one aspect, I think it's been marketed trend over capitalist history is the spectrum of working class and bourgeois that has emerged. Within both, there's a whole gradient of relative levels of wealth and correlated, usually but not exactly the same income, and a whole host of diverse and possible conflicting interests. Professional managerial class, the labor aristocracy, the developed neocolonialism, etc. In the sense of remediated. Yep. I'd be shorting the markets too if I had that kind of risk appetite or just stupid money to waste. Which, incidentally, and the fact that also like you have like a father as the Commerce Secretary. So I mean, yeah. Tariffs weigh down on businesses more the smaller you are. This big business wanting to squeeze out the competition but not looking at the bigger picture of us as a reserve currency. Tariffs just seem like a convoluted way for Lutnick family to get rich slowly. I mean, like, yeah, it's the whole, like, they're just banking on this being illegal. Right now, we choose a non-violent way to overthrow. Don't listen to the indivisible lady. Oversized bagel slicers. China, U.S., China, etc. Doesn't matter to most capitalists what the reserve currency is. That's true. They're already internationally diversified in their assets, just chasing profit maximization wherever on earth it's found. Yep.
It is their mistake to make. I'm sure that's what's going on there. He doesn't.
Wait, one is not really me. Oh, really?
Talk to his son.
I thought that was like a meme. Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate the follow. I thought that was a joke. I thought you made like a separate account for Indivisible. Either non-currency assets or non-US currency. I'm sure at any given time some might suffer more depending on the positions. Investment sense when they're caught and when the ball drops.
Only his grandmother, who never complains about her Social Security being cut off. The level of corruption. And the thing is...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't tariffs one of the few aspects of the Trump administration that doesn't map onto Project 2025? Hardly anyone benefits. Yeah, I mean, like, the tariff things is like... the tariff things is not really, like... wasn't really, like, on the plan. But it benefits, like, a select few that happen to find themselves in... or put themselves in the right position. In this case, like, the example would be Lutnick. But that's about it. That's about it.
The level of corruption is so astronomical. I don't know. You have to go back to literally the robber baron era, I think, to come close. And really,
Gotcha, Mayhem Hippie. I was confused there for a second.
It's debatable.
Yes.
It's debatable as to whether this is worse than that.
I think this, like, Teapot Dome looks like, good government. compared to
Exactly.
this.
Well, I
And
just
then-
read analysis saying that the level of incoming wealth inequality has exceeded the worst of the Gilded Age. So that's where we're at.
Yay!
Some like billionaire hedge funder is
Yeah, like what chat was saying, what you guys were saying about how this is gonna make the Great Depression look like a pothole. It's all good, folks. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay.
in the news for saying that wealth inequality's gotten out of control.
Yeah, his name is Ray Dalio, founder
Dalio,
of
yeah.
Bridgewater Associates. He basically said that classically increased wealth and value gaps lead to increased populism of the right and populism of the left, and irreconcilable differences between them that cannot be resolved through the democratic process.
He says we're back in the 30s and 40s.
I mean, he's right.
And it's leading to more autocracy.
Billionaire says what people have been saying for a while, but because he's a billionaire, there's a news story about it.
Of course, you got to listen to him. And despite all of this, like how massive this corruption is within the context of the history of the United States, I'm sure that there's been, much more extreme looting of various countries around the world. But in terms of the United States, we're probably in the most extreme sort of like looting phase of this country. It's still probably maybe the second or third, fourth headline.
Yeah.
When you talk about like we're destroying the 100 and some odd years that it took to build up the premier institutions that deal with public health being destroyed within a context of a month, in terms of like labor rights being destroyed, in terms of like safeguards for consumers and the
Yeah, I mean that's all. That's all like a thing of the past, as far as I'm concerned. More than my suspicions of capitalist mindset that they believe, true or not, they can deal with the disruption of currency, example prime standard for reserver in various ways. Taking an international perspective, and of course they could deliberately work to make one. Example like the BRICS, yep. And presumably they felt serious enough that threat would lobby government and privately act as they are creating some replacement. Heat, how's it going? My cat is on a diet and is now a pizza thief. Oh no, Garfield. Garfield.
economy being destroyed, in terms of like rolling up and building. We have now net negative migration into this country. And yet we are.
And also, like we went over yesterday, 1.2 million out of the workforce. As of 2022, the BRICS countries' combined GDP surpassed the G7. Cool.
On the eve
It's all good. Everything's
of
fine.
increasing ice so that it's larger than some government's army, a domestic federal militia, essentially, that is going around and going to be rolling up grandmoms and dads and kids and just your neighbors. I mean, so like the number of stories, and we are funding a genocide and an ethnic cleansing and the annexation of the West Bank, and also destroying what appears to be the vast majority of our relationships with the other great powers and emerging powers in the world.
Yep.
China, India. I mean,
Did you see that in the images out of BRICS? I mean, Putin.
Cool. But how many less jobs are available? Bozy, welcome. This Christmas is going to be really depressing from a financial perspective. Yep. But I mean, our president told us, be grateful. Our president told us that maybe instead of 3 dolls, you can just buy little Susie 1 doll. She only needs 1 doll, not 3.
Modi and G were like basically doing a 3-way hug. Yay, America's destroying itself. Here, let's come together.
It's like, this is exactly what we've been
All
planning
it
for.
took.
Yeah, and then, like, literally the meme. Do nothing, win. Wait till the following Christmas. And that's been very optimistic on value loss, not staying the same as last 8 months. Which, yeah. If it's the right kind of doll, sure, I only need one.
All it took was $750,000 worth of Facebook ads, and look what we did.
Yeah.
If only we had known.
That's why I say Newsom Slotnick 28.
Oh, thank you, Brian.
We will talk about
Newsom
Brian.
Slotnick.
Check his bank account.
Yeah. Brian is wearing a hat that says 1630 funds. Well, weird.
1630.
But that counts as disclosure, right?
Exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like a NASCAR suit on it.
Hey, folks.
That's funny. Someone should ask James Carville how to do nothing strategy has worked out so far. It's been great. It's working out great. Bella Lucrezi, welcome. Dan Anonymously, welcome. The truth must be difficult since all they do is lie on the right. Ha! True! Oh my god, I'm gonna get a heavy use out of this. A rim shot. So that kind of carries us over to what we were talking about. If Trump does lose this tariff lawsuit, America may have to refund businesses more than $200 billion. The majority of the sweeping tariffs Donald Trump imposed during his second term face one final litmus test that will determine whether he can continue to levy them and also whether businesses are eligible for the massive refunds. That potentially dramatic turn in the tariff saga comes after a federal appeals court ruled on Friday that Trump unlawfully leaned on the IEEPA, or International Emergency Economic Powers Act, to impose across-the-board duties on countries. Trump had used those powers to push import tax rates as high as 50% on India and Brazil and as high as 145% on China earlier this year. American businesses have paid over $210 billion as of August 24 to cover the tariffs that U.S. courts have determined that are illegal. On Tuesday, Trump acknowledged that the court's decision, if upheld by the Supreme Court, could result in the U.S. Treasury having to give back tariff revenue collected. Trump told reporters on Tuesday that his administration is writing an appeal to the Supreme Court, perhaps as soon as Wednesday. I imagine that's next Wednesday. He's urging swift action to keep the tariffs in place beyond October 14th. The October 14th deadline the appeals court set for when the ruling will take effect. It is a very important decision, and quite frankly, if they make the wrong decision, it would be a devastation for our country, which he put us in that scenario. So, like, again, just to be clear, folks, Trump put us in that position. I'm still waiting for those Doge checks. Yep. We're only just at the beginning of tariffs biting margins and prices as they've literally tried to understandably delay reckoning with this reality. Yep. Carville's old. He figures these 4 years will be over in a month. I mean, these 8 months have been like 8 years. Yes, Sandy did get her channel back from Environmental Coffee House. Another round of applause. I've already warned my kids that Yule's going to be hard on necessities. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult, and I imagine it's going to be difficult for a while. Like, just to be clear, like the impact, right? The reason why people are kind of just moseying about as if nothing, you know, as if nothing's going on is because it hasn't really hit. Like the actual like on the ground impact, it hasn't hit. Not really. These things take time. These things take time. You can't handle the truth. Kwanzaa's gonna surge. Yeah, it's gonna be rough. For the next foreseeable future, okay? It's only just starting to mess up bond markets. The steel and aluminum tariffs are hitting already. Yep, but again, like on the ground, like overall, like yeah, right, like a couple of like we see some like price, we see some price increases, but like overall, I mean, I think that it hasn't been like that. We haven't like hit like the actual like real economic hit. Right, price have not skyrocketed whilst GDP plummets and massive layoffs roll out. I imagine a lot of business assholes just hoping the court blocks the tariffs and they dodge a bullet. Yep. A lot of companies bought extra stock before the tariffs hit, but now that inventory is running out. Yes. On top of that, yes, a lot of companies at the beginning of the year did a lot of front loading. So that's definitely one of the aspects. The demand keeps dropping and the yield is going up 30 years, even though they're dropping rates and the 2 years are going down. Good stuff. When it hits the food, we will really notice. We aren't going to get food out of season anymore. Yep. On the plus side, I just got 2 burgers, $6, so I'm good. Hey! Actually, that's not a bad price, honestly. Honestly, it's not a bad price. It's 1 banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10? I'd kindly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Remember the $1 double cheeseburger war? Now they're $3. Yeah, I remember that. Because we used to call. We had a friend. Well, not had. He's still very much my very good friend. And we would call the double cheeseburger from McDonald's. We'll call him. We'll call him Andy. we used to call the $1 double cheeseburgers from McDonald's. I think they called them the I think they just called them the McDouble, right? We used to call them Andy tokens because we would pay him in McDoubles. You would give him one McDouble, and he'd take you where to go, anywhere you want to go, because we were young and didn't have cars. Soon we'll have to put eggs on a payment plan. Sheesh. The highest selling meal item in most fast foods at the moment are under $5. I mean, even Taco Bell raising prices too. Now the only good deal at McDonald's is the McChicken. Oh my goodness. Soon they'll start using inferior meat, even more inferior. Yeah, I mean, I just assume that, like, if you're going to like a fast food place, it's best not to look into the quality of the food. The nation's highest court may decide it isn't willing to hear the Trump administration's appeal, instead deferring to the lower court's decision. If that's the case, American businesses could have that money back in their pockets, but it won't necessarily be an easy or quick process. The Supreme Court will probably take on the case during the upcoming term, which begins next month, and the tariffs in question will likely remain in effect while the appeal is heard, said Ted Murphy, the international trade lawyer at Sidley Austin. Excuse me. Soon we'll have to finance our Five Guys burgers with Klarna. Is it Kalma or Klarna? We had brisket Sammy's last night from Firehouse. Nice. I will not eat the Filet-O-Fish. The McFish or whatever. I have no idea how to Google it to know how to spell it. I'm actually confused too. I've heard of Klarna, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You can now do that now. Affirm, split that double. Hey! Affirm! Affirm is the other one. Unironically though, like we're basically there, right? I mean, like, order from DoorDash, right? Or what is it? Is it DoorDash, Uber Eats? But you know what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah, Klarna. Okay, I was right. Go to DoorDash or whatever. You can literally finance your food. It's actually pretty dystopic. Buy now, pay later. Is that what we're discussing? Yeah, like literally financing food. YouTube censored me. You son of a fish. It is Craig. Can't believe I googled it and still spelled it wrong. I'm ultra cooked. This country's cooked. If the Supreme Court also finds Trump didn't have the legal authority to impose the tariffs under the IEEPA, the administration will immediately have to cease those collections. However, it's an open question of how potential refunds would be handled. It's possible that the government could decide to refund the invalid tariffs to all importers who paid them. Another possibility, the government could also take the position that the court decision only applies to the named plaintiffs, and thereby requiring importers to file their own court action. I mean, like, Trump is known for stiffing people, so this would track. Or what Murphy has also believes is most likely, the government could also try to get the court to approve an administrative refund process where importers have to affirmatively request a refund. Representatives from the Treasury Department, the government agency tasked with withholding on to tariff revenue until its use is designated, declined to comment on how possible tariff refunds would be administered. When a 3-judge panel at the Court of International Trade initially ruled in May that Trump's use of the IEEPA to levy tariffs were illegal. Thomas Beeline, a trade attorney and partner at Cassidy Levy Kent, said he immediately began fielding calls from clients who asked him, "When can I have my money back?" His response was, "Don't hold your breath." Instead, he's been working with clients in advance on a final verdict to keep filing administrative protests with U.S. Custom and Border Protections for tariff payments. This essentially prevents the entries from fully settling and could make it easier down the road to potentially get a refund. Many of his clients have been approached by investment firms trying to buy their stake in potential funds. Which is probably what exactly we were talking about. I'm just me. Welcome. I'm glad you play tomorrow for a hamburger today. Trump's bro has been hard in decades. Hey! Soylent Green is people. Is that TOS? That's borderline. I don't know, like if it crosses the line for TOS. It's borderline. Soylent Green is billionaires. While businesses may be elated to the prospect of tariff refunds, it wouldn't necessarily be a win for the economy. A win-win for the economy. Hundreds of billions of dollars of tariff revenue that Treasury has held on to its general fund means the government has borrowed less money than it otherwise would have. Reversing those tariffs would necessitate more borrowing to pay its bills. Yeah. Any day now, the fiscally responsible conservatives will be speaking up. These days, it's probably borderline, unless you say it's like made from Palestine or something. Made from Palestinians or something. An increase in the supply of bonds to cover unanticipated shortfall in tariff revenue means the government could offer higher yields to attract investors. The yield on a 30-year Treasury bond on Wednesday briefly hit 5%, its highest level since July, as investors demand more compensation to hold on to U.S. debt. Oh boy, that's great. If this ruling is upheld, refunds of existing tariffs are on the table, which could cause a surge in Treasury issuance and yields, said Ed Mills, a Washington policy analyst at Raymond James, in a note. Refunds could also spark concern of runaway inflation. Gary Hofbauer, a non-resident senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, told CNN, during the Biden administration, huge budget deficits plus loose monetary policies unleashed the inflation genie. Under the Trump administration, the nation's budget deficit has continued to grow, even with influx of tariff revenue, because that's not how that works. The only way the rich are going to feed the poor is if we consume them. I mean, like, wasn't that the whole, like, eat the rich thing? It's like, the whole point was, like, eat the rich because they have left nothing else for us or something like that. I'm sure billionaires are not a well-balanced meal. When Trump was running for office, he said 6% would bankrupt the country. Well, here we are. Here we are. Trump's strategy to lower interest rates have been to attack the Federal Reserve, especially Chair Jerome Powell, and put the board in his crosshairs by attempting to fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook and replace her with a Trump loyalist who can influence the rate-setting committee to cut borrowing costs. If he's successful in getting the central bank to lower interest rates, while there are possibly massive tariff refunds being distributed, that would refresh investor memories about the Biden years. Cool. Good stuff, folks. Good stuff coming down. You know. Good stuff. His economic policy is to attack the Fed here. Interesting strategy. I wonder how that'll work out. If you remember all the Doge politics, it was all because of spending and the interest rates being too high. Right, which, a median Victoria 3 player has a more coherent understanding of the real world economics. Just let that sink in. When you reduce the Fed rate, it could really only affect the 2-year. It could be anything in 30 years, and government typically finances 20 to 30-year bonds. I took a tolerance break till September 1st, and I've been super duper baked for 3 days straight. Oof. What is that even? I'm too high for this. It's not good stuff. Is the strategy for famine is to yell at the crops? Yes. It's usually the recommended. I mean, you could also try Gatorade. "30 years all about the long-term outlook, currency strength, etc." Your view count. Oh man, dude. Really? Tell me more about my viewer count. Would you like to help my viewer count by continuing to chat? Because the more you chat, the better it is for my channel. Are you trying to help my channel? That's what the plants crave. I think they want to boost you. I think so. You'll be putting fries in the bag at McDonald's soon. I mean, maybe you can help me avoid that by continuing to chat. In fact, maybe by you continuing to chat and boost the channel, it helps. You know, it helps avoid me putting the fries in the bag. You know, is that what you do? Sure. I'll let you cope to your 11 clapping seals. Enjoy. No. You could help. Maybe you could be number 12. Maybe you could be number 12. Unbeknownst to this wise guy, there's also a whole world in YouTube too. And what's wrong with McDonald's better than whatever it is you're doing? Yeah, 12 now. Look at that. Look at that. Number 12. No, nothing wrong with working at McDonald's. The Boston troll seems super lazy with regards to the trolling recently. I know, it's not even like... I'm trying to make it interesting. Just for their sake. For their sake. Don't make me log into my Twitch account and read this nonsense. There's nothing to read. There's nothing to read. It's just a troll. It's okay. It's funny. You complain about viewer counts while you're actually on the channel. Yeah, nobody wants to troll anymore. Not properly. Not properly. Like, it wasn't even like entertaining. I tried to make it entertaining, but like they didn't really give us that much to work with. I think they knew that because like that's about it. That's all we got. I'm a troll for pointing out your total 11 viewers and you're coping, by saying I'm raising it to 12 as if you're not a failure. True, dude. You know what? The definition of success or failure is how many viewers you have on a Twitch stream. That's true, dude. I'm done. It's okay. It was a boring troll anyways. I do be lazy. Yeah, nothing to work with. Just, haha, you have X amount of viewers. Okay. Yeah, I hear that, Bozy. Could have owned the McDonald's franchise, but wanted to use his COBOL skills. Nice. This will be overturned by the Supreme Court. Maybe. Maybe. We have a real problem with activist judges. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Yeah, we all know successful channels start out with millions. Yep, true. Folks, I'm in here. I'm in it for the love of the game. You know what? Maybe they did help me, because as soon as they left, I went up to 14 viewers. Activist judges someone who intentionally gives wrong verdicts to support their political agenda. Can I get an example of that? What do you mean by that? Like, for example, like the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade? I know where this is going, chat. You honestly just have no idea what the Supreme Court, true. The Supreme Court can give any final verdict. They are the final court. But they're judges, right? I'm asking for an example. Like, what do you mean by activist judges? If they're not here, it's their loss. This is a great stream. You have two types of judges, black letter law and activists. One tends to work. Anyone who is blocking deportations of illegals. Oh, no one's illegal. Get out of here. Piece of shit. I knew eventually. You see, you give them enough rope. You give enough rope, they do it to themselves. I knew eventually where this was going. Anyways. Yeah, it's just a matter of time. So, yeah. Please clap. Appeals court blocks Trump's use of Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelans. So what the chatter was bemoaning was the idea that the president illegally using the Alien Enemies Act to deport people without due process, like that, them blocking that because it's illegal and against the Constitution. That's the activism, the activist judge we're talking about. It's not even fun to play with them anymore. It's just like, shut up already. No one's to hear the BS. Yeah, this one was a real piece of work. But I let them say it themselves. I let them say it themselves before. Another one banished to the Shadow Realm. Yeah, that one was an easy. That one was too easy to bait with that one. Away with ye! If any human is illegal, it'd be Trump and his cronies. True. Not supposed to be a free-for-all to make up any shit you want again. At least that's what the theory they teach in law school. Yep. Anyways. A federal appeals court late Tuesday blocked President Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelans the administration says are gang members, which most of the people weren't. Most of the people didn't even have a criminal record. So, like, that's what this person was, like, bemoaning the idea that maybe we should have some type of due process, right, to make sure. But whatever, like, this is just authoritarian stuff, right? The people that support this kind of stuff, the people that call judges activist judges who are actually trying to uphold the Constitution and uphold civil rights, those people are authoritarians, and they agree with authoritarianism. My favorite people are typically immigrants. This country is so cooked. We're practically all immigrants. Yep. Earlier this year, Trump invoked the 18th century wartime power, which, again, we are not at war, to help streamline the deportation of Venezuelans alleged to be members of Tren gang. Since then, the use of this power have attracted a slew of legal challenges, including 2 prior Supreme Court decisions. The higher court has yet to directly address the larger question of whether Trump's invocation of the Alien Enemies Act is legal in the first place. The Trump administration's use of wartime statute during peacetime to regulate immigration was rightly shut down by the court, said Lee Gallerant, who argued the case for the ACLU. This is a critically important decision, reining in the administration's view that it can simply declare an emergency without any oversight by the courts. The rulings barred the use of the act in Texas, Mississippi, and Louisiana, which fall under the Fifth Circuit's purview. The Department of Homeland Security did not immediately respond for a request for comment. The Justice Department will almost certainly appeal to the wider appeals court or the Supreme Court. More than 200 men were removed from the U.S. under the Alien Enemies Act and sent to the notorious concentration camp in El Salvador, where they were kept for months before being released as a part of a prisoner exchange with Venezuela, which is wild. In their decision Tuesday, 2 judges appointed by former President Bush and Biden took issue with the use of the wartime power, the lack of relief if someone's removed by mistake, which happened, by the way. It's like literally whining about judges. Yep. Insisting the actual law is it be followed or changed first before you do something different. Indigenous people are the ones who should decide who stays and who goes. Yeah, but colonial power will never agree to that, not while any power remains. Yep. One judge appointed by Trump dissented. So far, the Supreme Court has weighed in on an ancillary issue related to the use of the law. In March, it ruled that those being deported through the act needed reasonable time to argue against their removals. In May, it issued an order overnight to stop the deportations out of the facility in North Texas, after lawyers moved quickly to stop the removal of their clients who only had received hours' notice that they were about to be removed. Generally, challenges to the use of Alien Enemies Act have played out at individual courts across the country. District judges in Texas, Colorado, and New York have ruled against the administration's use of the act, questioning Trendaraga's alleged ties to Venezuela's government and noting that the U.S. is not at war. I mean, like, there's really not much else to say other than this is, like, ludicrous. Obviously, like, on its face, the use of the Alien Enemies Act is nonsense. Is nonsense. Right, or it's just live in a completely upside down world. Yep. 100%. Start saving your bottle caps now. I already got mine. Look at that. Probably can't see it. There's a cap stash. Ironically, there's a cap stash right in front of my "This is fine" meme. So that is a lowercase W. Hopefully, we'll see what the Supreme Court does, because I have no doubts that this administration is going to try to appeal to the Supreme Court because they have a favorable audience there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, that is a lowercase W to stop this temporarily. Everything's political in U.S. these days, but really that was just an example of court reaffirming what was. Yep. I've got none, no cap. Start collecting them bottle caps. I just want to set the world on fire. Rigged such favorable, it's pretty easily argued to be rigged court. I agree. The Supreme Court is basically like compromise, right? A cursive W, a silent W. Yeah, like we'll say a silent W, right? Because it's not in stone yet. Because we next time the court takes this up, the Supreme Court, if it takes it up, we will be talking about it, and maybe it's a different ruling. You know what's the worst part of it? That is, you can't escape the reactionary hits in the Apocalypse Kaiser Legion. W in hieroglyphics? No. Has the Supreme Court done more than offer a minor dissenting opinion on anything Trump wanted? I mean, like, occasionally, it has given some okay rulings. But mostly no. What is SDTK? In case you weren't aware, there's around a 5-second delay on YouTube. When Twitch is ahead by roughly 5 seconds. Huh. That is interesting. I didn't know like how bad the delay was. I could actually make the delay more on Twitch. Oh, the soundtrack. Gotcha. I said obviously not hieroglyphics because nothing is written in stone. Well, actually, no. I guess you could put hieroglyphics on anything. That was a fail on my part. Sing it more. That's about all I know about that song. There's probably a few, but some of the ones they have done, like expand his immunity from prosecution. Yeah, that's the big one. That's the big one. Yeah, talk about activist judges, right? But not those, because those are the Supreme Court. Like, you see how, like, nonsense that is? Like, you must really, like, do, like, Olympic levels of mental gymnastics to complain about activist judges protecting civil rights versus activist judges giving the president like full immunity. Like you care nothing about like the president receiving broad immunity, but like where you draw the line about an activist judge is whether or not a person has civil rights. Like that's just fantastic. That's good. I was just an FYI. Oh, cool. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know how like the difference between the delay is on YouTube versus Twitch. Alito and Thomas are the activist judges. 100%. 100% they consider themselves activist judges. I think so. I think so. As you refer to left-wing judges hoping to improve society, but at the moment, yes, has a lot of reactionary activist judges, it seems. Yep. It's a rule for me, not rule for thee, not for me type of situation. Robert's wife called him one and said the quiet part out loud. Said the loud part out loud. I agree with you so much in terms of my sense and lack of patience for this obvious BS double standard. When people whine about judicial activism, yet they're clear issues when judges actually are in favor of civil rights or even basic shit than that. Just like how the process works. Yep. 100%. Anti-playing royal match. Nope. I don't even know what that is. Vergonia. I think the court only does something good when it plans to do something bad to maintain the legitimacy. I mean, like, they can pretend that, but it's not working. It's not working, folks. With their very confidently held opinions without even bothering to understand the relevant background facts. Among a pretty verse, 1 month you have them saying women don't have reproductive rights. Next, saying the president's almost immune to all prosecutions, conveniently for embezzling PDF. Yep. All right, folks, we turn our attention to Florida. The Florida Surgeon General says state will eliminate all vaccine mandates because, cool. This is the kind of stuff that should make you want to stay away from Florida. So that's cool. Very cool. Disney World's the best place on earth. Prove me wrong. This is going to go so badly. Oh, yeah, 100%. How are they going to say polio isn't necessary or anything else? I mean, Godspeed everyone in Florida. Aren't you glad you're out of Florida? Yep. Yeah, and all the tourists who are not vaccinated will get stuff while on vacation there. Yeah, I mean, like, just to be clear, like, you know, diseases don't respect borders. The problem is Florida people won't stay in Florida. Yep. Vaccines don't care. Vaccines are like, oh, it's just Florida. I guess we can't move over. So yeah. Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo said on Wednesday today that the state will work to eliminate all vaccine mandates. All of them. All of them. He said, every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery because, what, like, seriously, what the F? He said the Florida Department of Health will work in partnership with the governor. He said forcing vaccine mandates is wrong and immoral. No, I think that allowing diseases that are it's preventable diseases that we've dealt with already for decades, like diseases that are completely wiped out, and letting those diseases come back and hurt children and hurt people and put children, people who are at risk, elderly people for death or serious health complications. That's wrong. Okay, it turns out that we live in a society. Okay, I don't care. I don't care. We live in a society. Okay, so in this situation, your choices are affecting other people, and that's where the line is drawn. Does that make sense? Okay, your decision to not vaccinate is actually affecting other people. So yeah. The invention of the assembly line will forever change jobs. We can now be mindless on hours, friend. Yep. My freedoms! Next, you're going to tell me I cannot yell fire in a theater when there is no fire. This is America. Welcome, Wolfglen. Nadia, welcome. Probably want to kind of be in the mid areas of the U.S., but not like in the Midwest or whatever. They all in the Middle East might as well be the desert. I was watching Guy McPherson talk about how we're all gonna die real soon now. Oh my god, that guy is so freaking annoying, man. Oh my god, it's like McPherson. I think he's actually even been in here a few times. Also, if the state doesn't mandate, you will have to pay for any vaccines in Florida out of pocket, which will lower the vaccination rate. Yep, even if you do want to get vaccinated. Anyways. Who am I as a government? Oops, sorry. As a government or anyone else, who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body? Because you're a government official, dude. Guys, my friend, he hasn't been here. No, in the Twitch chat. I'm pretty sure it's the same dude, Guy McPherson. To tell you what you should put in your body sounds like a lot of right-wing anti-trans shit. I mean, this guy is right-wing, 100%. Like, I think I got like, if I'm remembering that this is the same person, I got into like an argument with like the whole like climate, like we were going like back and forth with like the climate crisis stuff. I mean, again, I don't know if it's the same dude or maybe I'm misremembering, but that username sounds so familiar. But anyways, as the government, yeah, you're supposed to kind of regulate public health, man. Who am I to tell you what your child should put in their body? I don't have that right. The right doesn't believe in hypocrisy. I agree. Florida, yeah, right, 100%, because they will tell you, you know what they will tell you? You're right, Nadia. You know what they will tell you? They'll tell you that if you have a trans child, that you can't make sure that they get, you know, that if you have a trans child, they'll say, oh, you can't get them the healthcare that they need, right? Then in that instance, they will intervene and tell you what you can do, what your child is allowed in their body. So yeah, gender affirming care. Then all of a sudden, all this script gets flipped on its head. This whole like, who am I to tell your child what they should put in their body? I don't have that right. Okay, so we should allow gender affirming care, right? No. He's an evolutionary biologist. I don't know if that's the same guy. I'm not sure. That may not be the same guy. He's a climate doomer. That sounds about a little bit. That sounds a little bit closer. I think we're having like an argument like with some. We were going back and forth with some kind of like data or something like that. We were going back and forth like about some kind of climate study. I think is what the argument was. I think. It was definitely not about evolutionary biology. He may come across as a doomer, but he's an evolutionary biologist. Not really sort of go on with people in chats. He's way too boomer to do anything on Twitch. I swear I thought I talked to somebody like that. Like, I'm not even joking. Or maybe I'm just tripping out and I'm completely remembering somebody else, because it could very well be that I'm thinking about somebody else. Probably a troll using his name. Maybe. Maybe because it sounds so familiar. It sounds so familiar. Is he on YouTube? That also may be possible. He's got to have younger people set up his YouTube live stream stuff. I like to think that we can fix it, just don't have high hopes for my particular society. Well, no, it's not about fixing. Like there is no fixing. It's more like, I mean, you could talk to scientists, climate scientists about this. It's not about fixing, it's about mitigation. He's got a YouTube channel, other people manage the web interaction and computer stuff to make the live stream works. Yeah, I mean, maybe it was some kind of troll using their name, because that name sticks out to me. That name does stick out to me. It's not a young man. Okay, so maybe it is a troll or something. I think we can still avoid, I still think we can avoid too many unalive. I mean, like, yeah, we could. If we wanted to, we could probably do a lot to brace the impact. But truth of the matter is, yet nothing's being done. Timu Sam Cedar's back. Of course. Sam Cedar's back from vacation. So am I. Like, yeah, again, that name sounds familiar. But it maybe I was just arguing with the troll. I have no idea. Adaptation? Yeah, adaptation. There's just nothing to lose by doing all we can. 100%. 100%. I don't think that's doomer though. I don't consider that doomer though. Being a climate doomer is just being a climate realist in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, like, if you're just describing like the nature of the situation, that's just what it is, right? Like, I don't think that's doomer. I agree with you. Heat. But again, I could be wrong. I might have just been arguing with a troll. Mitigate the plastic stuff. Yep. And at least there's a lot being done. Every millionaire has a doomsday prepper. Fewer bunker with an Epstein-style harem wing in the first corners of the earth. Yeah, nothing to fix the actual asteroid about to hit us. You know what I mean? Is the restream bot not working? I don't know. I see you guys perfectly. In such dire circumstance, it can be difficult to distinguish if there's a distinction between reasonably appropriate levels of alarm and urgency and doomering. I think like doomering, yeah, there's like doomering. I think that like in the bad sense is just like it is just kind of like is paralysis, right? Is paralysis versus like just saying like, hey, the stuff's on fire. Can we get the fire department over here? You know what I mean? Like doomering is just kind of like saying in the corner, looking at the building, saying everything is on fire, and then like kind of just sitting there like traumatized. Which again, it's a very normal response versus like saying, hey, go get the fire department, go get water, go get the fire extinguishers. You know what I mean? Like this is urgent. This is a problem. We got to start doing something about it. Yeah, paralysis versus urgency, which again, hey, I completely get that response, but like, I mean, it's it's kind of like we kind of have to do stuff on this. I feel like I teeter on the point some days. It seems like the sooner we collapse, the sooner an adult will show up and start fixing stuff. Ah, man, if only. But like, what if that doesn't happen? It kind of falls upon us, right? Florida requires current vaccinations for students going to public schools. Those requirements are outlined in the Florida Health Visit. The state is not banning vaccinations. You want to put whatever vaccines in your body, God bless you. I hope you make an informed decision. You don't want to put whatever vaccines, God bless you. I hope you make an informed decision. That's how it should be. No, man. The U.S. government should be like, hey, you need the measles vaccine, bro. You need the measles vaccine. We invented a 6-alarm fire to describe this exact situation. Yep. Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't consider that doomering. I would consider that, like, just having the ability to peace out before before the poop hits the fan, right? I mean, you know, I don't know if I would consider that doomering. You saw the writing on the wall and you got out of there. Or out of here, I guess. What kills me is like the global response to COVID showed that we can do something about climate change in 6 weeks of lockdown, and literally we saw emissions go into retrograde. Yep. Very late at night in Washington, D.C., where on this side of the world no amount of sorry could equal the pain I heard in the part of your presentation, especially 33 years of marriage. And the cost of past effects with the push of a button, and tomorrow the Pentagon will push buttons on drones that really destroyed lives, but you know, it's not exactly me. So we have to describe in graphic details how awful measles is, and even then, like, you know, I mean, till this day, we still have people that believe that like vaccines cause autism. Okay, like, I mean, like this is wild stuff. Dr. Robert Malone, whom Kennedy appointed to the CDC Prevention's Independent Vaccine Advisory Committee, wrote on Twitter that he had spoken with Ladpo on Tuesday, calling him a measured scientist who's on fire to change the system for the better. So, like, I mean, like, well-known anti-vax, like Robert Malone. Okay, Robert Malone is like the modern day Alan Wakefield. Okay. That's how I see Robert Malone. Robert Malone is like the modern day Alan Wakefield. As a member of the advisory committee, Malone is instrumental in making recommendations to the CDC about who should get certain vaccines. He has been vocally critical of vaccines. I mean, like, that is one way of putting it. He is really the modern day Alan Wakefield. This guy has been responsible for the resurgence, or partially responsible for the resurgence of anti-vaxxing. The same goes for Brent Weinstein. The same goes for Peter. Was it Peter? That Dr. Malone guy, Peter Malone. And there's another guy. Not RFK. Not RFK Jr. There's another guy that was walking around pretending like he had any legitimacy. I think he was a doctor. Man, and I can't remember his name. I think there was a third guy. Yo quiero Taco Bell. Sorry, folks. I gotta get out of here. Really quickly, this is so apparently the new target is not Chicago. Apparently the target has been changed to New Orleans. So pay attention, folks. If you are in New Orleans or know somebody there, pay attention because this is where the administration is going to move next. Possibly. They were thinking about Chicago, but now he's mulling the idea of sending them to New Orleans. We don't know yet where this is going to go, but we will definitely see. I'm playing Royal Match again. Nah, I gotta get out of here. Isn't that an R governor? I guess, but New Orleans is like, I don't know, Democrat-run city? I don't know. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. Keep ice out of my hometown. I'm gonna learn to make beans and rice for these uncertain times, 100%. Taco Bell isn't Mexican food. I agree. Governor of Louisiana invited him in. I'm sure, like, you know, New Orleans is New Orleans like Democratic? Pretty sure. Frankly, Pritzker and the coalition of the rest of the willing just need to send all their National Guard. Yep. You send him to our governors with D mayors, it's a fascist play. Yeah, that makes total sense. Just skip to the part this is all obviously going. Yeah, I mean, like, the part that we don't know is, like, where he's gonna end up going, right? Like, is he gonna go to Illinois? I don't know. I don't know. Is he gonna go to New Orleans? Who knows? NOLA is Dem. Okay, this makes sense. New Orleans is a Democratic city. Yeah, this totally makes sense now. 100%. Aerosol pollution also went down, causing more planetary heating. Ironically, yeah, that's the thing that happened. There was a whole reason for it too. I think we even went over that article. It had something. Yeah, it had something to do with something. I forget honestly. Gotta be think of the demographic. Yep. Good stream, Timo Sam. Thank you for mods and bye chat. Appreciate it. All right, let me get out of here, folks. I gotta start exercising someday. I feel that I should join you in that endeavor. It's probably a good idea, you know. Just even just like walking is good for you. Something that I need to do, you know, get up and move and exercise. I need to do that too. Get myself, you know, get myself in shape. Hard times are coming, folks. Hard times are coming. That's Timu Bender, not Sam. That's funny. We are getting old. I know. I hear that. I hear that every time I get up. Trust me. Crack. Pop, pop, pop. Start learning to grow some food. Yep. Start getting familiar with beans and rice. Start getting familiar with growing whatever you can, even if it's small. Even if it's small. Do it. I started and now I can't stop. That's good. Movie recommendation: Joe versus the Volcano. I haven't heard of it. Add that one to the list. I'm moments away from 50. I mean, it's just good for you. It's just good for you to just get up and you know, exercise, even if it's not a lot. You know, whatever you can do, is probably good. Just become one with the chair. That makes sense. Just never get up and you never feel old. There you go. All right, folks. I call it the Giga Famine that's coming. Roasters are always open for people that want to learn how to grow food. Even if you live in an apartment, you can do it. Nice. Yep, I agree. All right, folks, I gotta get out of here. Thank you all for being here. Do all the things, folks. This will be a short outro. Do all the things. You see the links. Appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back tomorrow at around 5 p.m. Eastern time. As always, folks, let me see if I can do something here. This space is live. So if you're on YouTube, head on over there. And we're going over to Peacefire on Twitch. Thank you all for being here, folks. As always. Well, I actually didn't even get that ready. All right. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, there we go. Oh, actually, this one's a good one, too. All right, folks. Thank you all for being here. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. No, seriously, guys. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it.